sweet friends, I'm Mary from marysnest.com, where I share traditional recipes for making nutrient-dense foods using simple ingredients. And today I want to show you how to make milk kefir, or milk kefir, depending on how you say it. But whatever way you say it, it's the champagne of milk. The nice thing about milk kefir is that you don't have to warm the milk like you do when you make yogurt. You can just use milk right out of your refrigerator and pour it over your grains, which I'll show you in a minute, and you're all set. Now before we get started, I just want to say that if you're new to my channel, welcome. And if you're interested in learning more about traditional foods cooking, I hope you'll subscribe to my channel and be sure to click on the notification bell that'll let you know every time I upload a new video. Alrighty, well let's get started with this. First of all, this is a batch of kefir that I made, and just let it sit overnight, and it's become quite nicely thickened. And what I'm going to do is I just like to mix it just a little bit like this, because sometimes there's a little bit of a separation. The cream comes to the top. I made this with milk that was neither pasteurized nor homogenized, so the cream kind of rises to the top here. It's raw milk from a local farm. But the nice thing is you can use pasteurized milk, you can use that's not homogenized, or you can use pasteurized milk that is homogenized. So really any milk that you can find from your grocery store or at the farmer's market or a local farm, all of them work wonderfully when making kefir, and it improves the digestibility of it. It lowers the sugar content that naturally occurs in milk, the lactose, and it's usually very agreeable with most people. And I'm just going to pour this out like this. I've got a measuring cup here and a strainer. Now I'm using a plastic strainer here, but you can also use a metal strainer. Some people prefer just to use a plastic strainer. They think that the kefir grains don't like to touch the metal. I don't really know about that. I've used both plastic and metal, and I've never had any problem. So really, whatever you have should work. Alrighty. And all I did, I just want to mention, was culture this in a what do you call it? A canning jar. And this is one, you could use a wide mouth canning jar, you could use a regular mouth canning jar. This is one of those that you normally use, like we'll can asparagus in. It's straight up and down, the same width throughout. And I like it, I find it very easy to work with. But you can use a bowl, any kind of jar you have on hand. It's very easy. And the nice thing about kefir, it's just very forgiving. Alrighty. Well, I've got that all into my strainer now, and what I'm going to do is just encourage the kefir, or kefir, to drain through here, and then what we're going to be left with will be the grains, and I'll show them to you so you'll know what they look like. Let me just continue doing this, and when I've got it all strained out into my measuring cup, I'll bring you back. Well, I think I've gotten all of the kefir strained through the grains and into my measuring cup here. So I'm just going to set this aside for a minute, and I want to show you what these grains look like. Now my grains are very old, and over the years I have shared them with friends who wanted to learn about making kefir in their own kitchens, and I will tell you that when I decided to start making this, no one really knew a lot about kefir. And I was in a little, some type of chat group. There was no Facebook even back then. I think it might have been like America Online or one of those things, and I was in a little chat group, and we were all talking about the book Nourishing Traditions by Sally Fallon, and how we were all very interested in that, and many of us were already making homemade yogurt and getting raw milk from the farm and so on and so forth. And we were all learning about this kefir. And I said, gee, I don't have any grains and I have no idea where to get them. And one lady said, oh, I have some and I'll mail some to you. I'll put them in a little milk and put them in a little envelope, plastic bag and an envelope, and mail them to you. And I said, okay, what can I pay you for them? And she said, oh, just send me $1.25 for the postage. And so that's what I did. And God bless my husband, because I think he got a real kick out of it that I was ordering something that looked like this from someone I didn't know in another state. God bless him. That's all I can say, what he's experienced with me over the years with traditional foods cooking. But in any event, so these are my grains, and they grow quite nicely, and I'm always happy to share some with my friends. And I'm trying to see, as I mentioned, I made this with raw milk, and it has a lot of cream. And so there's often a lot of cream that's left on my grains. So it's a little difficult to actually see what the actual grain looks like, but I'm going to try to, it's almost like, if you're familiar with kefir, you've probably heard people tell you that it looks like, or even yourself if you have them, that it looks like little bits of cauliflower. And that's exactly what they look like. Now, what do they feel like? They feel like a little gummy bear, something like that. But they do look very much like little pieces of cauliflower. So I just wanted to show you that so you would know what they look like. Now, that said, this, let me just put this, oh, I'm dripping it around, that's okay. I'm just gonna put this to the side for a minute because I wanna show you what the kefir looks like once it's strained out. And I'm just going to get a glass so I can pour some out for you, and a clean spoon, because I just want to stir it up a little to incorporate the cream. And when I get those things, I'll come right back. Well, I've got my milk kefir all stirred up, and I'm just pouring some into a glass here so you can see exactly what it looks like. As you see, it's coating the measuring cup here, and I'll use my spoon so you can see it's very much like, almost like buttermilk, very similar in consistency. And I'm just going to give this a little taste. It's delicious. I love kefir. It's slightly tangy and effervescent, and it's the effervescence that has given it the name the champagne of milk. And I've always been, in our family, I've always been the one who loves to drink milk kefir, and I kept trying to convince my son, oh, you'll enjoy it, you'll enjoy it. He liked yogurt and various other cultured dairy, but he had never really tried kefir. I think both he and my husband were a little suspicious of the grains and how I had acquired them years earlier. But in any event, he was a teenager, and I said, come on over, try this, it's delicious. It's the champagne of milk. And he just looked at me and he said, thanks, Mama, but I don't drink. And I always thought that was very cute. In any event, I think you will enjoy it. It's tangy and effervescent and just a lovely beverage. But now that I've strained it and you've seen what it's like, I'm going to show you, when you're starting with your own grains, exactly how you'll make this and culture it and be able to have some for yourself and your family. Well, the first thing that you'll want to do when you get ready to make milk kefir at home is decide on what type of jar you're going to use. I usually just make about 2 cups at a time, since I'm really the only one in the family who drinks it. So that's the perfect size for me, but you can certainly use a larger jar, a canning jar, a quart size, a half-gallon size, whatever you want. And all you have to do is, it's so easy. You take your grains, and I'm just going to use all of these. I probably don't need all of them, but since I have them on the plate and I don't want to get another jar out right now, I'm just going to go ahead and put all of these grains in. Now, you don't rinse them. You just keep reusing them batch after batch. You don't want to rinse them with water from the tap, because since most water that comes from the tap has chlorine in it, and that might hurt the grains. But I'll let you know that if you decide that you don't want to make kefir every day, you can store them in your refrigerator for a little bit in a little bit of filtered water, and like spring water. And that will keep them fresh and hydrated until you're ready to make kefir again. Now, if you're just going to go a few days until you make your kefir, you can always just store them in a little bit of milk, and that'll give them some nutrition. But if you're going to go for long-term storage, probably just a little bit of spring water in a nice cold spot in your refrigerator and kind of let them go to sleep. The other option is you can also dehydrate them. And now speaking of dehydrated grains, that is how you can wind up buying grains. Because say you say, well, I'd like to make milk kefir, but I don't have any grains. There are various options. There's a company called Cultures for Health, and they sell dehydrated grains, and they'll mail them to you, and then when they arrive to you, you rehydrate them. It takes a few days, and once they're rehydrated, and you rehydrate them in the same way that you would be making milk kefir. You cover them with milk, set them at room temperature, let them sit for a bit, and then strain off the milk the next day and start the process again until you find that the milk is thickening and becoming effervescent. Then you know they've woken up and are ready to make batch after batch for you. There are also places that sell live grains that have not been dehydrated. I've seen those. I don't know any websites off the top of my head. I'll have to look for that and I'll put them below. But there are places that sell live grains and will mail them to you, as my friend that I had met on the internet did for me all those years ago. And then the third option is you may just have a friend who's making kefir. It's very popular today, so you may just want to ask around in your social circle if anyone has grains to share. They tend to duplicate pretty quickly. I guess depending, some people's don't some people's don't duplicate as quickly as others, but some do, and so there may be a friend you have who can share some with you. But in any event, there are various sources that you can get kefir grains from to make kefir. So I go back and forth. I say it both ways. In any event, I've got 2 cups of milk here, and now all I'm going to do is pour this over the grains. That's it. Perfect. And again, as I had said, I used a spoon to put them in. I've never had any problem over the years, whether they touch metal or plastic. I've never found it to make any difference. If you make kefir or kefir, I would be very interested in hearing your thoughts on that. You could leave it in the comments below to let me know if you found any significant difference, whether you use metal or plastic. So that's that. You put your lid on, just finger tight, don't make it particularly tight, and then place it somewhere in a warm, cozy place in your kitchen that'll be undisturbed, and check on it after a few hours, depending if you're doing this in the morning, check on it in the evening, see if it's developed to the thickness and effervescence you like. If not, you can leave it overnight and then see how it is to your liking. But I think that it usually cultures pretty quickly, and I think you're going to enjoy it tremendously. Now, let's talk about this kefir that I made earlier, and that I tasted earlier. You can take another step with this. You can add this to a clean jar, put the lid on, and set it aside again overnight, 7 or 8 hours, whatever the case may be. And that can be its second culturing. And often what will happen at that point, it will become even more tangy. So it's just a matter of what level of tanginess you like. This is perfect for me. I often don't do a second culture or ferment, whatever the appropriate term is, but that you can do that. But I just want to let you know that if you do that, you may find that the milk is going to appear on the top, and then you're going to have what looks like a clear liquid on the bottom. Not quite, might have a little bit of a yellow tinge to it, it depends. And that's basically some whey separating out. You can just remix that right back in and then go ahead and drink it. So I hope you'll give kefir a try. It's wonderfully nutritious, very rich in probiotics, excellent for gut health, which everyone is talking about today. And if you'd like to try another type of cultured dairy, I have a video where I show how to make homemade yogurt without a yogurt machine. You don't have to worry about a yogurt maker, whatever it's called. You don't have to worry about having that. All you need is a bowl. And I'll link to that above if you'd like to watch that as well. For complete instructions on how to make this milk kefir, please visit my website, marysnest.com. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I'm happy to respond. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you like learning more about traditional foods cooking, be sure to subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell that'll let you know each time I upload a new video. Well, that's all for today, but I want to thank you so much for joining me here, and I enjoy seeing you again next time, right here in my Texas Hill Country kitchen. Love and God bless. And here's to the champagne and milk.